I'm actually in my warehouse in Fort Worth, and why you will never be able to sell your junk removal service. And the idea and the thought of ever doing it is delusional. Making $1 million and thinking 3 times X or 4 times X or 2 times X and hiring a broker and doing all that stuff is delusional. As many people know, I own a junk removal service, and I also own 2 haunted houses in the DFW area. That's DFW, Dallas Fort Worth. And I went to go purchase a building actually about Friday. I went to go check about another building to expand my haunted house, I guess, network, or just I want to get a bigger haunted house, right? Because I think I can make more money if I get a bigger building. And I went to go talk to my landlord, right? The guy who worked out the deal for this building with me. And I asked him, what do you do for a living? I asked him, and I had no idea. I've known the guy for a while, and I had no idea. But I asked him, what do you do for a living that you always have money on him? He always has money on him. And he said he is an attorney for brokers. I asked him what kind of broker. And he told me he gets hired from people when they buy another person's business. So he's like the attorney for somebody on one of the 2 sides, I guess, right? Fuck. And I was kind of surprised. I never asked him that. So we're sitting down. I had a seat with him, and I was asking him about his building. And when we got to talking about him doing his brokerage and his attorney side of it, and how he makes money and how he gathered his wealth. And I told him, what do you think about junk removal? He said, man, Ricardo, you're in such a great business. You are such a good business. And I mentioned to him, how much do you think your business, my business, is worth? And he asked me the revenue I do and the sales that I did. And I was like, okay, great. He goes, so let me ask you the 3 most important questions you're going to get asked. Where are your contracts with the government, the state of Texas, or the city that you live in? And I said, what kind of contracts? He said, well, do you do reoccurring contracts with these people that there's always money coming in? Where's that? And I said, well, I don't have any of those. I said, I have contracts, verbal contracts and some handwritten contracts with real estate companies. He's like, okay, how much is that worth a year? And I said, about $100,000, maybe $90,000 every year for, different companies all put together. And he started giggling. He's like, no. What I'm asking, Ricardo, is where is your client based? Where is all your clients coming from? And I said, well, customers' houses. He goes, okay. Well, you got to look at a lot of things. You have to have some kind of system in place for all your ducks to get in a row. And I kind of didn't understand what he was talking about when he said that. He just said, you got to have everything in place. When you're going to sell your business, you got to have a system for everything. And I told him, well, explain that part to me because I don't understand what he's talking about. And he said, sure. Do you have a system for your maintenance on your vehicles? And I'm like, I fix them. He goes, no, is it like on a hard drive? Is it on your computer? Where's it at? Do you have maintenance works? Do you work on these trucks? How often do they break down? Do you have maintenance records? Do you have a system for that? And I said, no, I don't have a system. Okay, well, you need that. I said, how about your employees? Do you have a system for your employees, how they hire, fire? Do you have an HR department? And I was like, no, don't. Well, how are you going to present that to a buyer? How are you going to present that to somebody that wants to buy your company? Somebody that is interested in purchasing junk guys. How are you going to introduce that to them? That you just hire Joe Blow from the street? And he was making sense to me. He goes, you need a system in place for that. I said, well, what else do I need? He goes, employing systems, maintenance systems, HR department. You need a system in place for your scheduling. You need a system in place for your managers. You need a system in place for your employees. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Why do you need these systems in place? I told him. He said, well, when someone's going to purchase your business, you need these businesses in place. I mean, these systems in place. So when you present it to them, it's more enticing to the buyer. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. He goes, so what assets do you have? And I'm going to tell you, when I was talking to my landlord, he kept on saying assets. And I said, I got this motherfucker, because he doesn't know how many trucks and trailers I have. And he said, so how many assets do you have? And I told him, I said, well, I got 5 trucks. I had about 10 trailers. And he goes, okay, cool. Do you have everything in line? Like, do you have a list of the years and the models and how much you owe? And I said, well, guess what, sir? My trucks are paid for. He goes, okay, that's good. That's good. He goes, so do you have a system for that in place that shows your maintenance for all your trucks, where you bought them from, how much they're worth, each one of them? He goes, okay. He goes, now, Ricardo, let me ask you this question. Are they 24 vehicles, 2023? And of course, if y'all know, I have older vehicles. I have 2006s, 2008s, 2010s, stuff like that. And I told him, he goes, so let me ask you a question, Ricardo. What wouldn't make somebody just go and buy a truck? If they're going to spend $1 million buying your business or 2.3 million, don't you think they'd go just buy their own trucks brand new instead of buying yours? And I said, okay, you're right. Tell me something that you have, he said to me. Tell me something you have that nobody else has. And I said, I got that. I told him I have an SEO website that I don't buy any ads. And that was his next question. How much do you spend yearly on ads? And I told him nothing. And he goes, okay, you got something. You don't have any commercial contracts. You don't have any government contracts, and you don't have any city contracts. No state, nothing. I said, right, sir. And the only thing you have of value, well, it's definitely not your assets, which is your trucks and trailers. The only thing you have of value is a website that is ranked number 1 on Google and a funny YouTube video that is probably not worth that much. And he asked me how much my YouTube channel is worth, how much I make yearly. And I told him, I make a couple of $1,000s every year. And he said, would it be logical for someone to come and give you $30,000 for your YouTube channel? I said, yeah, sure. He goes, so what would be your website worth to you, Ricardo? What would you think it's worth to you? I said, well, it can generate this much. And he said, so if someone came and offered you $100,000 for your website, would you take it? And I'm like, yeah, probably so. He goes, then you're probably worth $130,000 because you have no assets. You're not going to sell that to anybody. That candor of ideas that your business is worth something and you're going to sell it for $2 to $3 million. You don't have any systems in place. You don't have any processes in place. You're financing your trucks, which just tells somebody that they can go do the same thing, finance or buy a truck. You make $1 million every year in junk removal, and you take home less than 10%. Let's go see what's going on. You take home less than 10% of that. You're making no money at all. You're making $100,000, $200,000. It's crazy outside. So let's happen to say that you're making $1 million and you're taking 10% of that $1 million, which is $100,000. That's what you're going to take home. And that sounds logical to me. Because you buy ads from Google, you're on Thumbtack, You're on all the places that spy ads. You're on Angie's List, Nextdoor. You're buying all those ads. Facebook, Instagram, you're buying ads. And you think by your expenses and how much money you make, and you add all that and you subtract the expenses, that your business is now worth an astonishing $100,000 in profit every year. Well, let me just tell you, you can drive a UPS truck and make about $120,000. You can be a manager, a general manager at a Walmart and make that much money. You don't need to run a business. You definitely don't need a junk removal business. My landlord made me feel stupid. He made me hit the reality when I asked him about the other building. He said, Ricardo, junk removal companies are not based to sell. He said, the only good thing you have is a good website that ranks on Google, SEO that ranks on Google, and 17 years experience on it. And you know everything. I told him pretty much, yeah, you're right. He goes, what are you going to sell? What can you lure a buyer? What can you buy? What can you sell? Made me think of all the people that are on Facebook and thinking they're going to sell their business. What are you going to sell? You're not selling your contracts because you got no effing contracts. You got nothing written on paper. You have no systems in place. You have this reality, this delusional idea that because you built this business and because this is your baby and that you worked so dang hard for, that you're actually going to sell it one day and make and turn a profit. Well, you tell me the ghost, the idiot, the stupid person that's going to buy your business if it's not worth anything. And all you have is some trucks and trailers that are not paid for. I'm going to tell you, if anybody in the junk removal industry right now buys a 2024 or 2023 truck, it is financed. It's not paid cash. Prove me wrong. Love that. Prove me wrong. Show me a title. Paid in full. It is an impossible task. This dream that you had has been sunk with the ability of me talking through a YouTube channel to tell you the reality of selling your business. You're not selling your business, man. That illusion and those dreams that you had are a reality when you come to my channel and I tell you the truth. I wasn't disappointed because I never had plans to sell my business anyway. This is something that I would pass on to my son. But for people that have dreams and think that you're going to do something that you saw someone else do on a YouTube channel or on a Facebook page and think that you're going to 3X, 4X, no. You know why people sell their businesses? I'm going to tell you why. They're old. They're old and they have debt in their business. And by transferring it for somebody else, they take care of that debt. They take care of those bills from now on. They want to retire. They want to stop doing what they're doing right now and retire. That's the only thing that I'm telling you. And the only reason people would sell their junk removal business, they're not going to make any money. They just want to get out from underneath it. So to all those people that, quote, sold their business, Sky Lane, Kyle, it never happened. It never happened. So wake up out of your dreams. Stop believing in people like that. because that dream is not going to happen. The reality is that you think it's worth something. You better find a buyer for it, because there ain't one out there. Selling your business is an impossible task when it's not worth anything. Unless you have a government contract, you can sell the contract with your business, and then it'd be worth something. So, to all the people, thanks for watching my videos. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but the reality check has came in. See you later, guys.